Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And we will just let folks come in. This is being recorded, so if anyone misses anything, you will have the recording later to reference. But hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to today's webinar. We're focusing on Bluesky basics today. My name is Sheena Roatman-Wynn. I am the Education Manager here at the Indigenous Journalists Association, where our mission is to serve and empower Indigenous journalists through programs and actions designed to enrich journalism and promote Indigenous cultures. Today's presenter is Emily Liu, Head of Special Projects at Bluesky. Bluesky is an open social network that gives creators independence from platforms, developers the freedom to build, and users a choice in their experience. Previously, Emily built election models and visualizations at the Washington Post, archival tooling at the New York Times, and automated fact-checking at the Duke Reporters Lab. And Emily, I'm just going to let you take it from here.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Happy to be here. Let me share my screen. Um, there we go. Can you all see that? I think. Okay, awesome. So just to give a high-level overview of how this is going to go, I'll talk and share some slides for maybe 15 or so minutes, and then turn it over to you all to answer any questions that you might have. I'm just going to talk about a high-level overview of what Bluesky is and some best practices and tips to make the most of your time on the network. Cool. So at a very high level, what Bluesky is trying to do is build an open social network. And what we mean by this is we want this version of social where you're actually in control of your posts, of your data, of your followers, specifically of your relationships to your followers and your audience online. I think even still, this sounds a bit like abstract and vague. Like, how does this actually benefit us? And so the example I always use these days is what's happened with X, the canonical closed network now. Maybe you've spent 10 years there running your own account or running an account for the news org that you work at, and you have your audience there. And if one day you decide you want to leave the platform, you have no choice but to just walk away from the entire audience you've built over there. You're not able to take any of that with you to another platform. I think these closed networks know how hard it is for us to switch off to another network. And so they know that they have users locked in and they're not incentivized to keep providing a great service anymore. For Bluesky, on the other hand, because it is an open network, regardless of which private provider you're using, if you ever wanted to switch off Bluesky someday, as long as you're still on this open network, you'd still be able to maintain all of your relationships to your followers and take your audience with you. So an analogy for the way this works is kind of like phone numbers or email addresses, which sounds a bit outdated, but to give an example, let's say I use AT&T as my mobile carrier and Sheena uses Verizon. Despite the two of us having different providers, we're still able to call each other. And if one day AT&T stops providing signal in my neighborhood or just starts charging way too high of a cost, I could switch over to like T-Mobile but still keep my same phone number so Sheena can still find me and call me, and I still have my contact book full of my friends too. So it's like I can swap out my mobile carrier, but still be able to talk to my friends. That's kind of how Bluesky works. So the Bluesky company is actually building two things. The first one is the social app that looks a lot like Twitter. And then the other one is this open network where our competitors can and are providing the same services to you so that users actually have meaningful choice, and that there's real competition between Bluesky and other providers. So we're incentivized to keep doing a good job. To get into the numbers of growth recently, so Bluesky launched the app publicly in February of last year. So it's been a little bit over 1 year now. The first week that we launched publicly, we gained 1 million new people from Japan. And it feels like over the summer, Bluesky just kept going viral in different countries and like picking up users along the way. But really, it was after the US general election in November where we saw this hockey stick moment of growth, where Bluesky jumped from about 13 million people to where it is now, which is 35 million people. As of just last night, we crossed 35 million. Overall, the top 5 countries on Bluesky are the United States, the UK, Canada, Brazil, and Japan. So overall, a very global, diverse app. Matching that, the top languages on Blue Sky are English, Japanese, and Portuguese. So something we about a lot at Blue Sky is making it a great place for breaking news. We want to make it easy for you to find out what happened literally 3 minutes ago. So here are just some screenshots from some users talking about this. In December, when martial law was briefly declared in South Korea, people on Blue Sky were talking about it an hour before the news reached X. We had reporters on the ground posting live from South Korea, sharing what was happening in that moment. On Christmas Day of last year, so in December, we launched a trending topics feature that makes it even easier for you to see exactly what's happening on the network and tap into that conversation. In terms of breaking news, some key demographics that we're thinking about and actively onboarding are newsrooms, journalists, governments, um, sports, and then also pop culture entertainment, because we see these four categories as groups where breaking news is especially relevant. So along with all of this breaking news and like journalism presence on Blue Sky, people are also seeing this convert to real traffic as well. Blue Sky does not demote or throttle links in any way. So maybe you've developed a habit on other apps where you're like link in second post or link in bio so that you don't get depromoted in the algorithm. On Blue Sky, you don't have to worry about that. We don't throttle links in any way. And as a result, publishers are seeing a way larger increase in traffic from Blue Sky. As an example, back in November, the Boston Globe was already seeing 3 times the traffic from Blue Sky as compared to Threads, and that this traffic was converting to paid digital subscribers as well. As another example, when The Guardian joined Blue Sky, they had 11 million followers on Twitter. And in their first week on Blue Sky, they gained 300,000 followers, which is still a lot, but obviously 300,000 and 11 million are two very different numbers. And still, the traffic they were getting from Blue Sky was already higher than the traffic they were getting from X. So even back in November, this was actually severely undercounting the amount of traffic that Blue Sky was sending to your website because we hadn't set up link click traffic metrics correctly yet. As of a month or so ago, now this is set up correctly. So for any audience editors out there or people who are handling the metrics for your news orgs, the refer to track is right here, go.bsky.app. And using that, you can see and measure how much traffic Blue Sky is sending you. Cool. So on the note about Blue Sky not demoting links in any way, I also wanted to talk a bit about how our algorithm works. So whenever you download the Blue Sky app, you get 2 tabs by default. The first one is a following tab, and this shows you posts from people you follow in chronological order. So if you follow someone, you'll see what they posted there. There's nothing fancy happening over in that tab. The next tab over is called Discover. This is Blue Sky's version of a default algorithm, kind of like our version of the For You page. The way Discover works is also pretty simple. It has 3 main components. The first one is posts from people you follow. The second one is posts that people you follow like, so things right outside your network that we think you'd be interested in. And then the third one is trending or viral content across the whole network, which typically encompasses like breaking news moments or like viral moments. So we don't uprank or downrank content just because of its media format. So whether you're posting a photo or a video, that doesn't affect how Discover ranks that post. And then, like I said before, links are also not throttled in any way. So very much encourage you to post your links. So the reason why Discover is pretty simple on Blue Sky is because we've been investing more of our time and energy into building out custom feeds, which is a feature where anyone can create their own feed and subscribe to others. You can kind of think of this as like if on a site that only has a For You page, it's like turning on the TV and there's one channel and you have to watch it and you don't know how content gets in there. Then on Blue Sky, your TV has over 100,000 different channels. And if one of those doesn't meet what you're in the mood for, you can create your own as well. So as an example of like some custom feeds that are out there right now, there's a feed called News, which contains posts only from verified news organizations. There's a feed called Quiet Posters that I really like. It shows you posts from people you follow who don't often post that much. So it's like now that your friend has said something, you want to see what they've said. So using feeds, you can really curate your experience of Bluesky. So with Quiet Posters, you get this cozier, smaller community feel. With the news feed, you get more of like the broad scope of what's happening in the world. So the way to get verified on Bluesky is to set your website as your username. This is in line with our open philosophy, where instead of Bluesky, the company, deciding who gets a blue check and who doesn't, instead you can just self-verify by setting your website as your username. As an example, the New York Times uses at nytimes.com as a username, and they've begun verifying their journalists with the pattern like name.nytimes.com. So for Eric, his username is at ericlipton.nytimes.com. Other publishers have also set their website as their username, like Wired in the screenshot here. And even like senators are using the senate.gov pattern. Same for representatives using house.gov as well. So there's been global adoption both of Bluesky and also of this self-verification. Here's just a quick slide showing some screenshots of other profiles out there that have set their website as their username. President Lula of Brazil was the first head of state to join Bluesky, maybe over a year ago at this point now. And he's using his website at lula.com.br. Same goes for many other government figures around the world. And then another quick slide just to show you local adoption as well. The city of Boston has been an early adopter of Bluesky, creating an account for their main city profiles using boston.gov as their username. And they've also created Bluesky accounts for all of their city agencies too, using that same naming pattern. But what I think is most exciting about what they've done is they've created a custom feed for the city of Boston. Using their own custom feed, they're able to ensure that everything they post reaches the right people. I always thought it was wild when like government figures or like heads of state were posting on other networks where they just have to hope that the algorithm delivers their post to the right people. Instead, for Boston, it's like if you're a resident of the city, you can pin this custom feed directly to your Bluesky app. And then every single post that the city of Boston's putting in that feed, you'll see it for sure in your app. In fact, if you only cared about what the city of Boston has to say and you don't care about anything else, you can remove the default feeds within your Bluesky app by just unpinning the tab, pin the Boston feed. And so now anytime you open the Bluesky app, it's kind of like it's just the Boston app now. Like you're just seeing the post from the Boston feed itself. So like the Boston city government is really able to use the real estate of the Bluesky app to communicate with its residents. So that kind of shows the flexibility of what Bluesky can offer. Okay, moving into some best practices and tips. So my biggest tip for you all is to use starter packs. Starter packs is a feature where you can recommend a list of accounts or even custom feeds to others. And anyone who joins your starter pack would immediately be following all of your recommendations. So you can set starter packs directly from your profile on Bluesky. You'll see a tab labeled starter packs, and then from there you can create one. So as an example, Wired has created a starter pack for their newsroom. It includes both their official brand account as well as accounts of their journalists. And so anyone who joins the starter pack would then be following all of the journalists that they've placed inside this starter pack. We then see news organizations share their starter pack as a post on Bluesky, and then they can pin that post to their profile. So now anytime someone visits your profile, they can immediately follow all of your recommendations as well. With every starter pack, you get this preview image and a QR code, as well as a short link to make it easy to share. So journalists who have shared their starter pack links in their newsletters, on their website, on other social platforms, it's been like a great bat signal to be like, hey, I'm over here on Bluesky, and to bring over your audience to follow you onto Bluesky. You can also create starter packs per topic or beat. So let's say your beat is climate reporting. You could become like a curator for climate by creating a starter pack, putting all your recommendations in there. And so anytime someone's looking to follow the climate community on Blue Sky, you would be included in that list too. All right. Another tip sounds corny, but be authentic. I think especially in this day and age of social media where people have been a bit jaded by the way that brands or like companies interact on other platforms, I think it's very valuable to be like human and genuine in the way you're speaking on Blue Sky. As an example, the US Consumer Product Safety Commission, a government agency, when they first joined Blue Sky, they created this thread that worked really well with our community. Just to read out one part aloud, it says, out of respect for you all, we will not attempt to engage in the usual brand building of establishing a hollow parasocial relationship with our followers. Instead, we'll just be sharing like concrete information. And that seemed to work extremely well. I think people appreciate the genuineness and like the feel of this kind of tone. Engage with other users. The engagement on Blue Sky is really good, but you have to give a little to get a little in return. As two quick examples of what people like what the community can like bring. Here are artists talking about getting commissions and job offers from Portfolio Day, which is a hashtag where people just share their artistic work. And then here's a post from a publishing agent who met a writer on Blue Sky and signed them. So that was very exciting to see. Okay, I think this is my last tip, which is that you can embed Blue Sky posts directly in articles. The way to do this is you can just copy and paste your post link into this website, embed.bsky.app. And using this, you'll just get a little code snippet that you can use to embed your post. You can also embed posts directly from the post itself. If you click the little three dot menu over here, you'll see a button for embed post. And using that, you can get that same code snippet. All right, so that's everything from me. I'll turn it over to you all to see if there are any questions I can help answer.
We do have a question in the Q&A from Sarah.
Let me read it out loud. So Sarah asks, what's the best way to monitor news in Indian country on Blue Sky? And how do I help categorize my posts as an Indigenous journalist to show up for people who are interested in Indigenous news? I think one place to start would be looking to see if there's a custom feed out there already for Indigenous news. If there isn't, I'd recommend starting one. That could be a great way to start curating this community as well. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so I can put some links in the chat. Grace.social is one website that you can use to create custom feeds. It's run by an independent company, but it's just like a no-code solution to building custom feeds on Blue Sky. So that could be one way. Blue Sky also has hashtags. I said like if there are common hashtags that the Indigenous community uses, I'd recommend looking up those hashtags to see if there's already this community on Blue Sky that you can just immediately join. Oh, I realize now that my chat doesn't reach the Zoom audience. It only goes to hosts and panelists. But the link I shared is just graze.social, graze.social.
I'll share it
Awesome, thanks.
with everyone. There we go. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. I'm trying to find, there is an Indigenous starter pack, and I am trying to find the link for it right now. So hang tight.
I just dropped it into the chat.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, well, I have a question, Emily. I deleted all my social media. I deleted Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, but I am one of the things I admit to struggling with is keeping up with all of the various news organizations that I want to be following as a journalist. So say I'm like starting from scratch. What would be the first step that I take other
Um,
than sign?
Yeah. So I actually like if you're coming from the perspective of someone who's deleted all your social media, I wouldn't be like sign up for another one. Like I feel like I totally understand the reasons why you want to like log off and like not be on social. So there are ways to interact with Blue Sky, like the people on Blue Sky without even having an account. One example is every profile on Blue Sky is actually an RSS feed too. So if you wanted to follow one specific person without even having a Blue Sky account, you could do that just by adding like slash RSS to the end of their profile URL. So there are many ways to like interact. Like you could subscribe to a person's Blue Sky post via like a Slack channel. So depending on the news orgs you want, you could do that. Um, I think the easier way though is just signing up for an account, following the specific users that you're interested in. And then you don't have to check it every day, even every other day. Like you could just like have this list of users and check in for updates whenever you feel like it. But I totally understand the need to be like mindful of social media usage.
That's a great tip, the RSS feeds, because that is kind of what I have been using to kind of keep track of everything. So that's fantastic. Because one thing I do get frustrated with is people be like, "Oh, look at this," whatever. Click on the link, and it's Instagram or Facebook, and I can't access it because I don't have those accounts anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Because Blue Sky is an open network, we couldn't like gate posts like that. So you would be able to view content posted on Blue Sky even without an account.
Right, and we do have another question. I'm going to send it to you directly.
Okay, the question is, how does Blue Sky compare with Instagram regarding posting photos, and who has access to one's photos with or without permission to repost to galleries? I might need clarification on what the second half of that question means. But for the first part, so Blue Sky, you can share photos on the app directly. I believe you can share up to 4 photos per post. I think the main difference is just the way that the post looks, where on Instagram, the photo is more prominent and then the caption is smaller, whereas Blue Sky is primarily like text. So the photos, if you posted a collage, it would it would look like the way photos on Twitter look. Um, and then who has access to one's photos? There aren't like galleries or anything on Blue Sky as a feature, so you wouldn't be able to repost it. If you share something as a post on Blue Sky, people could like repost that directly, but your account name would still be attached there, so it'd be attributed to you.
Great. Do we have any other questions? Oh, something just popped up. Okay, I'll just go ahead and read it out loud instead of sending it. Someone asked, is there a scheduling function for folks managing several different platforms?
Yeah, so if you're using tools like Buffer or Sprinkler or Hootsuite, many of these sites already have Blue Sky integrations that you can use to schedule posts. If they don't have it now, many of them are working on it currently. So I would recommend checking with any social media management tools you have to see their status of Blue Sky integrations. Currently, Blue Sky doesn't have an in-app feature for scheduling, like directly within Blue Sky itself. But using those kinds of tools, you're able to cross-post across different social networks too.
Anyone else? I'll give it maybe 2 more minutes for questions. Oh, here we got another one. Where is a good place to keep up with best practices on Blue Sky?
I would recommend following the main Blue Sky account. So that would just be bsky.app on Blue Sky. Um, and then we also have a company blog where we share updates on features and other tips as well. So the company website is bsky.social.
That in the chat too.
Thanks.
Oh, yes, Beth, there will be a recording, and we'll get it out to everyone afterwards. Absolutely. Okay, we've got another one. How robust is the native slash indigenous community on Blue Sky? Do you find that it is very engaged?
Um, I'll actually defer to anyone else in the room who is on Blue Sky and can maybe speak to that. I don't think I'm the best suited to answer that.
Anyone wants to respond? I guess just put it in the chat.
Mhm. I can respond too. I think it's Hi everyone, I'm Justine. I'm the IJA Membership and Operations Manager. I feel personally like what I see engagement with Indigenous Journalists Association Blue Sky. Um, we got a lot of followers real quick. So we got like 2,600 followers, almost 3,000. Um, I I think my experience with people sharing our content is like we're all there hanging out, but like I don't know if we're all engaging in it, but we are there. I know we are there. But if anyone has a different experience, feel free to share.
It often feels like this chicken and the egg thing where it's like everyone's there, but it's like we all want like who's gonna make the first move to like start engaging and like start posting. So maybe like this call can kind of be like the kickoff.
I have a question. Do you find I feel like the only context I've heard Blue Sky be discussed is within journalism circles, but that could just be, user error. I'm only in journalism circles, so maybe that, but do you find that it is mostly, or maybe not mostly, but a lot of journalists? I feel like a lot of journalists have moved to this platform.
Yeah, I think like journalism and like news is definitely a big presence on Blue Sky, but in the same way that like Twitter used to be the place for breaking news too, I feel like Blue Sky just is that now. I do think that there is a pretty large diversity of like topics being discussed on the app, and like from different professions and industries too. So it does feel like the app contains much more than like only journalists, but I would say like news is definitely like a core part of it. I was just tossing out some examples, like artists were one of the first and biggest communities on Blue Sky. Every Friday, I think it is, like they'll share their portfolio and their artwork. And so like if you're following this community, your feed just becomes full of art and that's like really fun to look at. There's a large like gaming, like game dev community as well. Same for like tech, software dev. It used to be easier for me to name all the communities on Blue Sky when we were a lot smaller, but I feel like now it's just gotten pretty large. So like any topic, you can pretty much find it there somewhere. And then I'll also add just one quick note to the earlier question of like how do we kind of like kickstart the community? I would super recommend making like an IJA starter pack if there isn't one already. Or maybe someone sent a link to this in the chat, but using this, you would be able to like follow everyone in the Zoom call or in the Slack immediately. And then it would feel like everyone's more connected and you know where everyone else is on Blue Sky.
Okay, well, we'll do one last call out for questions before we can. Well, I'm gonna go eat lunch. I don't know what y'all are gonna do, but this has been really helpful. I feel like when I first heard of Blue Sky, it was kind of like, oh, it's just another thing I need to sign up for. But I'm really glad I asked you that question because the RSS feeds I think are gonna be my ticket.
Awesome. Glad to hear.
Cool.
Cool. Well, maybe if there are any other questions, Justine and Sheena have my contact. So if you have anything else comes up, feel free to just let them know and maybe they can pass it back to me. But other than that, super excited to, yeah, share all of this information with you today.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, absolutely. If anyone does have any questions that you think of later in the middle of the night, just feel free to email me or Justine, and we can get you in touch with Emily if needed. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Emily. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And thank you to our audience. Thanks for the great questions. Yeah, make sure you sign up for our newsletter, visit our website, and follow us on Bluesky. And I think that is about it. We'll wrap up.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks, y'all.